Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this episode of the Dan Dawson Show. So, in this episode, I want to read you an article which appears small, maybe not very controversial, but it is the exact reason why I keep saying and I keep saying we've reached the no return point for peaceful divorce. Divorce is coming. Everybody ever seen the Bonfire of the Vanities? Divorce is coming. But it's people like this Francis Ryan from The Guardian, completely left-leaning, right? And all they care about is their ideology. Look at how Aaron Rodgers was attacked, even though he's capitulated at every step and turn to the left. This is why we can no longer capitulate to them, why we can no longer take a knee, why we can no longer bow down, why we can no longer back up. They meet us with force, we meet them with force. Now be aware, have it on video, because they are going to complain, oh, they attacked me, because they're nothing but a bunch of whiny bitches. Let's begin. This is from The Guardian, completely left-leaning news organization. It says mandatory COVID jabs shouldn't be controversial. NHS staff have a duty to do no harm. This is obviously from a person who's not a medical professional. It's do no further harm. I've been in the medical field since I was 18. So the health secretary, Sajid Javid, check him, has confirmed, check out his past history, has confirmed that NHS staff will have to be vaccinated against COVID in a bid to address the 103,000 personnel who have not yet had a single dose. These are medical professionals. There's a reason why they haven't had that single dose. The move will finally bring frontline healthcare workers in line with care staff who have to be immunized by this Friday or risk losing their jobs, although NHS staff will have until next April in the hope of avoiding a mass winter exodus. Unions and some doctors' organizations have voiced strong opposition. So keep in mind, right? This isn't the old country boy down in South Texas who's saying, I'm not getting this shit. These are nurses and lifelong doctors who are saying, I'm not getting this. Do you think they know something that maybe Sajid Javid doesn't know? I'm just saying. In some ways, it is remarkable that requiring NHS staff who have face-to-face contact with patients to be vaccinated is even controversial. Healthcare workers have a professional duty of care to harm patients, which is why the majority have taken the vaccine. A few could expect to remain unvaccinated in a pandemic and to keep working with vulnerable people. However, mandating health measures is not something to be done lightly. Now, keep in mind, this is an opinion piece. Here's the problem. I know many nurses, healthcare workers, doctors who wouldn't get the flu shot because the chances of having a bad adverse reaction were mild compared to the flu. And plus, with the flu vaccines, most people can't even tell you what's in them. So I worked at a hospital. I was in the Army, and this is when I stopped giving flu vaccines. I'll never forget, I was in Tropic Lightning, the mighty 25th Infantry, over in Hawaii. Hawaii was great, by the way. Love Hawaii. But anyway, even though I spent those 3.5 years, probably about a year in Haiti. But I remember we had one of the representatives come in, and it wasn't even me. I mean, I was a young private at the time. I think I was an E2, E3. So one of the E5s asked, well, what's in this thing? And the guy did not know and couldn't tell us. We all just kind of looked around at each other because, see, you have a responsibility to take care of your soldiers. What happened next is what happened next. I'm not even going from there. As I've written before, workers, especially pregnant women, people from minority ethnic groups, must be given time to overcome fears, as well as paid time off to get the jab and sick leave for any mild side effects. Here's the problem. If you get blood clots or an enlarged heart, That's not a mild side effect. If you can't medically get the death jab, then what do? Do you just switch professions after 30, 40 years of being a nurse or a doctor? I don't think so. That's why staff will be offered one-to-one meetings with clinicians if they want to discuss their concerns as they make their choice. But persuasion cannot go on forever. It's been almost a year since health and care workers were first given priority access to the job. That surely comes a point when we must acknowledge that some staff will never take the vaccine without it being mandatory, and to be honest about what we are asking the public to face in the meantime. Medics are not immune to doubting science, nor guaranteed to put their patients' well-being first. Every request to give staff more time to feel comfortable being vaccinated is another day that clinically vulnerable people's lives are at risk. So let's go back and let's look at some of this, right? So this sorry son of a bitch. Now you're going to force people to get an experimental vaccine that's not even, to this day, been approved by the FDA, even though they've been doing this for 2 years, even though you have doctors from Sweden, Switzerland, even the Middle East coming out and saying, hey, this is going to be a yearly thing. It's over. Just deal with it like you would the flu. I saw the YouTube video. It's important to be clear about what Javid has mandated. No one will be forced to have the vaccine. It is simply that those staff who choose to remain unvaccinated will not have the right to a job on the front line of the NHS. This is not unprecedented. Staff in some areas of the NHS, such as surgery, are already obliged to get vaccinated against hepatitis B. That's because it's widely understood that not taking sensible precautions to prevent passing on the disease to patients would be a form of neglect. The hepatitis B vaccine has been alive since before I was born. I'm 48 years old. So you know the long-term effects. You don't know the long-term effects of this vaccine. Ridiculous. It's ridiculous. This is Nazi Germany. Can I even read the rest of this article? Ooh, here's a good paragraph. Let's pick up on this, people, shall we? The myth that patients are jabbed so no one else needs to be is another straw man. Some clinically vulnerable people can't have the vaccine because of their illness, while others will receive insufficient protection from the jab because they're taking certain medications or because they have weak immune systems. So, having worked in the nursing field all my life, I can tell you right now, I know and I have worked with nurses who can't get this vaccine. I keep bringing up the poor rookie NBA player, had a strong life or career before him, got the vaccine, ended up with blood clots. Let people make their own decisions. No, you're forcing it. And then you're requiring a card. You can go back and talk about, well, what about hepatitis and this and that, this vaccine, MMR, and they've been around, like I said, literally before I was born. So we know the long-term side effects, and we know there's mostly none. I'm not an anti-vaxxer. If you get the vaccine or don't, I don't care. It's really honestly not my business. And how many people who have gotten the vaccine is really what you need to ask yourself. How many people who've gotten the vaccine have ended up sick? The Supreme Court of the United States already said you can't do this. The Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals in Louisiana already said you can't do this. So why are they doing it? And what other rights? Well, you've seen Pelosi go after the First Amendment, wanting Facebook and YouTube to censor conservative voices, which they're doing by shadow banning. You've seen Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Remember when she was running for president and she said, on my first day in office, the Congress will have 30 days to come up with a sensible gun law, or I will issue an edict, a mandate. Mandate is not a law. A mandate is not a law. And if you watch my video I put up last night, Liz Cheney talking about defend the Constitution. You don't want us defending the Constitution because the liberals and the Democrats are breaking every step of the Constitution. You know what we call those people? Nazis. There's only a few things you can do with Nazis. They can leave you alone and go away, shut the hell up, or you can defend the Constitution. If you watch my last video, I already say what happens when we defend the Constitution. Let me put it like this, right? Number one, I'm done with that story. I'm done with the liberals. I'm done with this bullshit. They're destroying the Constitution. They're destroying the country. Hell, Joe Biden is wanting to shut down another pipeline, making us even more dependent on Europe, OPEC, and Russia for gas and oil. They are literally destroying the country. When's enough enough? And they don't even see the tea leaves. They can't even see the writing on the tea leaves. When you're losing seats, congressional seats, to people who spend $5,000 versus your millions because of your liberal ideas, and then AOC comes out and says, we have to be, you can't run a campaign being moderate. You're an idiot. You're an idiot. When Biden keeps pushing through with these policies, and he will, what is your thought? You know my thought. My thought is we've gone beyond the point of civil divorce. We're beyond that. And if you actually look, liberals are attacking ordinary citizens in the street every day. I can go back a couple of years and talk about the Black man who got stabbed in the back by a white liberal because he was Republican. Well, he was a small business owner, so of course he was Republican, and most of us are. I can talk about the Trump supporter in Portland, Oregon, who was shot in the chest by a liberal. I can talk about the small group of people who showed up to support, I forget exactly what it was. Oh, and they were protesting against vaccine mandates. And a group of liberals, Antifa, who are the Nazi brown shirts of the Democratic Socialist Party, showed up and physically attacked them. You get attacked out there, I've already said this in videos, protect yourself. It is what it is. I'd rather be judged by 12 than carried by 6 any day of the week. So, but like, subscribe, share, especially in these days and times, keep your head about you and do what you got to do.